Okay, today we're going to work with operations with polynomials, and basically what we're talking about is adding, subtracting, multiplying, and maybe even dividing them. All right. A quick note about standard form. If you see that anywhere in the instructions, standard form for a polynomial means decreasing order of powers. What do I mean? Well, what if you had this polynomial? 4x squared minus 5 plus 6x to the 7th minus 13x. And I wanted to write that in standard form. Well, if I wanted to write it in standard form, this should be the first term. 6x to the 7th because it has the highest power. Then this one, plus 4x squared. Then this one, minus 13x, then this one, minus 5. Now it is in standard form, and I think you're used to that. All right. The next thing I want to do is get to some operations. So let's just say they tell you to perform the operation. Well, it could just be addition or subtraction. Something like this. 7x to the 4th minus x squared minus 4x plus 2. That's the first polynomial. That should be a 4 there. And then we're going to subtract the polynomial 3x to the 4th minus 4x squared plus 3x. Well, the most important thing to notice here is that I am subtracting this whole thing. So I have to distribute this negative to all three terms in here. So this becomes minus 3x to the 4th plus 4x squared minus 3x after I do that distribution. This polynomial does not change. Okay, we just kind of recopy it. And now we need to combine like terms. Those two are alike, so 7 minus 3 is 4x to the 4th. These two are alike, so this is like a negative 1 plus 4, which makes plus 3x squared. These two are alike. Negative 4 minus 3 is negative 7x. And then I just have a plus 2. So you'll have some where you have to combine like terms, all right, which should be pretty straightforward. Now, how about multiplication? Well, let's look at this first problem. Negative 5x cubed times the quantity 7x squared minus 2x plus 6. Well, to do this multiplication, I have to do the distributive property. So I'm going to distribute this multiplication to all three terms on the inside. So when I multiply negative 5x cubed times 7x squared, I would get negative 35, and it will be x to the 5th. I'm going to add those exponents in that case. Then I do negative 5x cubed times negative 2x. So that will become positive 10x to the 4th. And then finally, I do negative 5x cubed times positive 6, which makes it negative 30x cubed. All right, so just distributive property there. The next one is one you should know very well. What if you see a binomial times another binomial? Two terms added together times another two terms added together. Well, you know this one. We're going to use FOIL. All right? So we multiply the first terms together. 5x times 3x squared is 15x cubed. Then I multiply the outside terms together. That becomes plus 15x. Then I multiply the inside terms together, minus 21x squared. And then I multiply the last terms together and get negative 21. In this case, there are no other terms I can combine because all four of these terms are different. There are no like terms there. The next multiplication trick, I guess, that we need to go over is one of the most important ones for your whole career in mathematics, which is the difference of two squares. Now, why is this shortcut called this? Well, if you look at these two binomials, these two are exactly the same, except one is a plus and the other one's a minus. When that is the case, all I have to do is multiply these two together and get 49x squared, multiply these two together and get 9, and then put a minus between them. That's all I have to do. That's why it's called the difference of two squares. Okay? Let's do another one of those because it's very important. If I had 2n plus 3m times 2n minus 3m, I square the 2n, get 4n squared. I square the 3m, get 9m squared, and put a minus between them. That's all I have to do. There's another shortcut for the square of a binomial, like 4x plus 5, the quantity squared. Well, we are squaring a binomial. Technically, what we're doing is this, 4x plus 5 times 4x plus 5. So technically, we're doing FOIL. Something else I want to point out is what I told you last week. You cannot distribute this to both of those and make it 4x squared plus 5 squared. That is wrong. You can't do that. All right? So if I have 4x plus 5 quantity squared, like I said, we're technically doing FOIL, but there's a shorter way to do it. Square the 4x, 16x squared. Square the 5, and you get 25. Then multiply these two together, which is 20x, and then always double it. So times 2, this middle term becomes 40x. If this is a plus, this is a plus. All right? And so what we did was we basically did FOIL, but we eliminated the step where we had to combine like terms. Let's do another one of those. What if I had 3x minus 2, the quantity squared? We use the same shortcut. Square the first term, 9x squared. Square the last term, plus 4. Multiply these two together, 6x, and then times 2, 12x. And that becomes the middle term. Since this is a minus, this middle term is a minus. That shortcut is called the square of a binomial shortcut, and we used it both on this one and this one. All right? What if you have to multiply something in vertical form? Vertical form is when I have something like this. X squared minus 2x plus 2 times 3x squared plus 5x minus 8. I cannot use FOIL here. If either one of these polynomials has 3 terms, I can't use FOIL. Vertical form, all right, vertical form means exactly what its name states. I'm going to stack these up vertically on top of each other. And then I'm going to do multiplication the old-fashioned way, like you learned back in grade school. I'm going to do 2 times negative 8, and I get negative 16. 2 times 5x, positive 10x. 2 times 3x squared, 6x squared. Then I start with the negative 2x. Negative 2x times negative 8 is plus 16x. Make sure you line up your like terms. Then I multiply the negative 2x times positive 5x, and I get negative 10x squared. Then I multiply the negative 2x times 3x squared, and I get negative 6x cubed. Finally, I need to multiply everything by the x squared. So x squared times negative 8 is negative 8x squared. Again, make sure you line up your like terms. Then x squared times positive 5x, that's positive 5x cubed. And then x squared times 3x squared is 3x to the 4th. Then we just combine my like terms vertically. This will just come down, negative 16. This will become positive 26x. Here I have 6 and negative 10, which makes negative 4. Negative 4 and negative 8 is negative 12x squared. Here I just have negative 1x cubed, and then bring down your 3x to the 4th. That's what's called vertical form. One last thing I want to give you is a formula for cubing a binomial. Now, you could do this the long way, but this is much shorter. If I want to cube a binomial, I follow this formula. A cubed plus 3a squared b plus 3ab squared plus b cubed. So if I wanted to cube 3x plus 2, the quantity cubed, then I just follow the formula. First, cube the a, which is 3x. So that would be 27x cubed. Plus 3 times the a term squared, which in this case is 9x squared, times the b term, which is 2. Plus 3 times the a term, which is 3x, times b squared, which is 4, plus the b term cubed, which in this case is going to be 8. And then just simplify it a little bit. 27x cubed plus 3 times 9 is 27, times 2 is 54x squared, plus 3 times 3 is 9, times 4 is 36x, plus 8. And that is the formula for the cube of a binomial. And we will stop there for today.